calendar, sports content producer as well. Within the morning life, we hope it is, Average Radio, so COO, Fashion News and Marketing, and then Military Network for NSC, PR Dynamics, Global Village, Planet, Metro, Point Avenue, and Media, or a media agency as well. I'm totally excited. I'm both magic and Roman Wednesday. Samm Marshall, at the radio. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Always good humor.
My favorite music here is very good.
Extremely good. These days we're talking about.
I like it. I love music.
Especially that full
Yeah, this is I think actually a moment where I went down at moment and I absolutely loving it. Thanks so much to both of you. I know Mr. and Dennis put out this Mr. Mardo taking time out to us performance and say an experience and insights that you are on Macron. This is basically a story Mr. Planning today. You see them when I make my friend right then. I'm absolutely listening. So my guys, thank you for taking time out of the show. You first hero to come and do what you do right.
Thank you, Heita.
So yeah,
I'm your regular.
yeah, it was residences and Heita. I have to say, as a guy to baby, I mean, I want to keep it, I want to talk and you understand how it is in at the moment. And looking right after this, I'm feeling like this is all of reason to interview right now. When you step into Mr. Marshall, let's discuss the media marketing industry. For those who've never heard of the industry before or not sure what it is, describe what it is, what roles are available in the industry, and what to study. You want to be Samm Marshall. Where does it start? Where does it all start with you?
What you have to consider, and I think one of the things you have to think about is, in media, you've got to kind of identify what your strengths are and where you want to place yourself. That's very important, first of all. And then second of all, it's also, media is personality.
True.
You're not going to be I will heard the DJ term that is written wrong. You're not going to be a presenter on air or on television if you're an introvert. That being said, there are scopes in so many different aspects. You can be an analyst, you could be a journalist, you could be an editor, you could be a television presenter, you could be a cameraman, you could be a DTC operator, you could be a video mixer, you can be anything. If you're a film director within the industry, it's really just understanding kind of
industry.
Yeah, it's a massive industry, and there are a lot of peripheries and there are a lot of stuff that you can do that you can continue doing. The point is, what you want to do, what speaks to your personality, and then the process from there is how do I move forward. Now, there are various institutions, there are colleges, there are properties, there are universities, and then there are sometimes, and there are great examples of people that are really great at what they do and they've never had any formal education in it. I mean, some of the top actors in the world that would come from a formal acting background. Some of the journalists that you hear on radio didn't study journalism. So I'm saying to you that education is critical, but it's not life defining to the point that you can't become a chef. I'm saying at some point though, if you're a cook, at some point if you're working as a journalist, whatever that is within you, that internal motivation needs for you to go and get qualified. At some point, even if you find your way in there by luck or by crook or hook and crook or whatever you want to call it, at some point there needs to be a drive to go and get some kind of piece of paper that says, I know what I'm talking about. So it might happen at the beginning of your career, or it might happen in the middle or towards the end of your career, but you need to back it up with a piece of paper. It makes sense.
Absolutely. You've been quite a few places, done quite a lot, TED Talks, and then a few morning edition interviews, sports content producer as well. And you are one of the icons.
Icon is a very strong descriptive word.
And most of the icons really don't want to hear that icon.
Yeah, well,
but you are in the industry.
Yeah, I am.
So when it all started, you did everything that would be everything you are right now. Have you always wanted to be in media? When did it all start
then? For me, I must tell you, I knew when I was 8 years old what I was going to do.
Wow.
So I knew that from day one. I knew what I was going to, where I was going to go, what was going to happen. I had a plan. My problem was that I grew up very poor. So with my family, we didn't have the financial means to be able to go and study. So it was one of those situations where I decided that early on that I needed to be in the right place, do the right stuff in order to get where I needed to be. So, I was also fortunate that my brother is a very seasoned, very respected journalist in the country. And so for me it was, I wanted to learn as much as I could. So I did what other people are scared to do today. I worked for free for a year at a leading radio station.
Wow.
And I got there 2 hours before everybody, and I stayed 2 hours after everybody. And so I worked 7 days a week, and eventually at the end of it, I was rewarded with I remember it was Tape Talk. And the news editor called me and said, you know what, Sam, we really like your spirit and stuff, and we want to offer you a contract. And it started for me with a very big radio station, but it also started with the idea started within me that I could become this, even though I didn't have the money to study it. And obviously it means that when you're not studying, you have to work twice as hard as everybody else to prove yourself. But yeah, you can get it. You can get there.
Quite a few things that I picked up. It started with a dream. So now that we're done. And this way, everything basically starts. So if you have a dream, if you have a vision, you will push yourself to the max. You will be there 2 hours earlier, you're going to be there 2 hours later, simply because you have a dream. Irrespective of where you come from, as well.
I just want to add on, I think, there's a formula here, and the formula is very important. There is the dream plus the vision equals the passion and the drive. At the end of the equation is hard work. Yeah, that's the formula, right? And the truth of the matter is that a lot of people go, oh, but I don't have what other people have. You know what people do respect? I can tell you. People respect somebody who kind of knows what he's about. You don't need to have all the answers. Second of what they expect is, nobody's going to give you a job if you walk up to somebody and go, hey, my bro, can I get a job? It doesn't work that way. It works with a knock on the door. If that person is desperate, you have to go back and go back and go back. Because the person doesn't know what your plan is. They know what their plan is. You've got to make sure that your plan always stays top of mind, stays in front of you. It's like, when you want a donkey to walk in a circle, you dangle a carrot in front of him, and he walks towards the carrot, although he won't get it. So you need to make sure that your plan stays in place. So I can come to elders of them, and I can knock you and say, can I get a job as a newsreader? And the person will go, well, no, we're not hiring today, but that doesn't mean you don't have to come back tomorrow. After tomorrow, next week, a month from now, a year from now, as long as the carrot stays there.
Besides that, I think don't come to elders and say, I want to be a newsreader, channel. What can you offer the person? What can you give other than everyone else here at this place?
That's true.
Is offering. Whether we need a newsreader
or not.
If you can be
whatever.
To the person.
Security guard or whatever. Look, a lot of people started, at a job in some corporate company cleaning the toilet, and they ended up at the top eventually. So, and what I like about the point that Sam made is the 2 steps we discussed. The first one is the important thing, and he mentioned it, is know yourself.
So,
and that's you knew what you wanted, you knew where you wanted to go, and you evaluated yourself all the time, which is part of the things we discussed. I don't know, how much research did you do in terms of the media industry before you actually got involved in it? Or is it important to do homework, or do research, or can I just go and step in and go out and go to, let's say, our relation and just get in there?
So yeah, I think first of all, research is important, but not in terms of what the industry is about, and I'll explain that. If you get stuck into what the stories are, it will dissuade you from applying. I think you need to know that, listen, I want to work for that radio station based on these things. This is what I need to do, and that research is critical. But I think often we need to be careful that we get caught up with too much paperwork, personal paperwork. And the personal paperwork can be the ones that can point out all the disadvantages to why I shouldn't do that. Research is critical to understand your job. Obviously, people want to, when they talk to you, when anybody interviews you, they want to know, what do you know about your prospective employer? What do you know about us? Do you know if we're the leading radio station or the leading newspaper? Do you know our circulation? And that's something you need to know in order to impress. But for the rest of it, I think sometimes, passion drives, research, knowledge, oneself, all of that stuff. It's good enough to get you by. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's important to know where you're going. I mean, you can't stand in front of the stars building and think it's the Catanaga's building. You need to know where you're going, and then once you get there, you need to know who you need to see. Once you get there, you need to know you always need to know how to escalate stuff. People don't know how to escalate stuff. They go like, well, I've sent my CV to this place, now I'm waiting for a response. Sometimes you don't have to wait for a response. Sometimes you can actually go on a Friday to the building, go and knock, find out who the person is, go and say, hey, the program manager, you have a meeting request for the program manager? No, but I'd like to meet you. And you'll be amazed what that kind of spirit gets you.
Absolutely. When you start to film, how long will you be in the media industry?
So I think around about 1997. I started out as doing commercials, acting. I did all of that stuff before I did all of that stuff because I wanted acting.
Of course.
Because, I couldn't walk into a news station and go, hey, I want to be a journalist. So I needed to find a way. Sometimes you need to get on bus A before you get to bus C.
Of course.
Sometimes you can't just climb on bus C because there isn't a direct route. You always need to know how to move it forward.
Start to the bottom of the river and eventually.
And the thing is that people always love. People love people that are willing to work for free and willing to learn.
There's a question for what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think most places are quite open to it, but then you must also remember that you're not the only one.
Absolutely.
You've got to differentiate yourself from the next person who's got the same concept walking around the same idea.
Wow. So when was your big hit in the media industry?
It's so weird. Can I tell you something? It's actually weird because you know what? I remember that I thought I made it big when I was working for a kind of junction at the time. A theme park that opened up in Heita. And when I managed to work for the in-house radio station, I thought I made it. So that was just making announcements in the park. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then when I got an internship at Take Talk under Lina Center, I thought I made it.
Sure.
And then when I got my first TV show on ETV, I was doing television, but I wasn't doing mainstream television.
Okay.
I was doing in-house commercial stuff, and I eventually got ads on TV, and I thought I made it. I think you've got these moments when you think you've made it, and then something else happens.
Sure, but how do you know that doesn't mean that is Samm Marshall? How do you differentiate between the two? Between you making it and actually making it?
It's weird to ask me that question because I think I'm making it now because all these years I'm still in the industry. A lot of my colleagues are very young, they're getting younger. You can't have to prove yourself. So I don't really have time where I go, I'm there. I've never been in that headspace.
Absolutely. What is the highlight been in Intern life with regards to the industry? What is sports? What is...
One of the highlights...
What about it?
The highlight for me was one of the highlights when I hosted a morning show on ETV. I hosted a morning show on ETV, and then I wanted to see whether I could reproduce the same success. So I left ETV on SABC, and I'm hosting a morning show on TV, which makes me one of the few people probably on continent that hosted breakfast shows for the main competitors in the country.
Wow.
So that was a highlight. And then obviously I need superstars, whether it was Joe, whether it was Ahmad, whether it was Samuel Jackson, whether it was pretty big names. So I've met some really interesting names in the industry. And I think, that was cool. That was cool.
Let's go to challenges. You had highlights. What challenges did you face and how did you overcome those?
I think challenges are just like in the industry, and I think people often forget that people that are in the spotlight, whether it's anyway, whatever spotlight it is, that I think the confidence is there 24/7. Let's not, because obviously you're a person as well.
Sure.
I think you find challenges in career advancement. I think that's also the aspect that's also important, because unfortunately in this industry there's a lot of talent.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily the one with the best qualifications. It's the one with the, with all due respect, you find people that are incredibly bright, personality-wise, but they're not they're quite domestically, but they excel. So this industry is very weird in that way, that someone can love you for just the word you say on a Wednesday. And so that is a challenge. Challenges, I think the challenges are all personal, I think, more than anything else. the industry we can go into like, but it's do what you like. The industry that has great rewards, but it's also very difficult because there are so many of us, and there's so many of us that are good. So it's very difficult to believe that trail, but once you've done it, you've done it in your own way. Yeah, I think you get that.
What's important is that you don't try and be road now. So I am happy with who I am, and I'm happy with who I am, and I'm doing that, and I'm not trying
to be somebody else.
That is all.
I think you'll be part of it, because the thing is, you know what, sometimes you wonder, what am I doing this to other people, but I just need to get into your space, and I didn't know what the Samm Marshall space is. What for me is, I mean, from Heita on TV to let's fix it, to, you know, doing vocal, some of the time, doing Fun Federation stuff, right into the World Cup. You know, yeah, I don't know what that Samm Marshall space is, but whatever it is, it's mine.
And you mentioned something, I wanted to ask you something, you mentioned something about talent and education. How important is education in the
I think, you know what, it's important in any industry. It's critical in any industry. There are some industries where it's less important than others. You know, like, but it's important to educate because you're still dealing with contracts. You're still dealing with people. You still need to be able to use the skill that education is giving you. So education is critical. If you get it, go and get it. That's something like that. If you can't get it, do something else, eventually you can get it. Whatever it is, that always starts with being educated.
Okay. I will just do, I think you might go, but before you go, have you ever doubted yourself in the industry? You ever had doubt at all things?
I think everybody has.
I think it's normal.
Everybody. I think you walk around going, man, I'm you know, right?
That's true.
Like, you know, like the script is there, you got yourself on good days, you got yourself on bad days.
Okay.
And then you have great days, and then you have fantastic. But that is just the way we move. That's the way we fluctuate through life, and that's how you grow as a person. And then you get to a place where, okay, well, these people comment and talk on me are okay. I don't need to for me don't do and then these people are important. So we get to respect all of us in our careers and our personal development. But some people's opinion don't matter.
Yeah. So it's not good.
I don't know whether some people not ever. And so in this reading, as you recognize the voice here from all over as you're feeling fired, and just need to say something. You just need to ask. Something really poetry to do. So this line has to be up on the double one.
I think no one there, I also called the CLP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we like to give yourself the same jump.
Oh, and it's rock, by the way. It's rock.
You see, as well. So the music is quite the fire is related to angle. Can you do your thing? How you do it? When you do it right now, it's real.
It's R&B, it's kind of like, you know, rock music. So, I'm just thinking, you know, there's a lot of places on many you can play theater in the time. Yeah, that's the festive one. That's the one that's just
not talented. I've seen talented guys, but not talented. I need to listen to this and the Lord still not I'm not particular into the on plan.
We'll feel talent at the same time, holding out to do it. You know, it's just a matter of time of finding the right people to work with. And I work with Heita from the UK, and on a previous album and scrapped it and worked with maybe a month on this album, by Anderson, which produced this one, and Sileno. And he's actually at the nomination this morning to find out whether he is being nominated in the next category.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some of the people is what's the name of the last one people in Akalaki we do the college and everyone knows you. Who heard the voice and what to do, how to do. Now the best guy is like So I am the participant to do the answer in Anakran country, your story, your experience, your expertise, everything else that you're Anakran. Before I go,
what in store for commercial?
Well, we're using about the album, that's Let's Go Get Man, it's going to hit the stores very, very soon. He's just wrapping up the album.
This is going to have a copy of that out there.
Yeah, we're going to have a copy of it. And then I'm about 4 chapters away from finishing my debut novel, which we're going to be like at the end of this month, so you can expect some massive series there. And then obviously, I'm doing possibly a new TV show that I'm still working on at the moment. I thought it was morning live, of course, Mondays to Sundays, of course, Capital Weekends, doing one live, and then I do SFM Radio, which is every night you can listen to there. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a couple of stuff that I'm doing that's actually we're going to do around the country. So there's so much coming. So much.
All of them. This is the same thing that we want to let into the voice.
You're saying I might take the news on having it. 5 minutes.
That's a good way.
5 minutes. I'm watching on Twitter, I'm at Marshall Samm. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Very simple. You can drop me an email. Yeah, basically everywhere. I mean,
because you like to
media should be.
Absolutely.
You can find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Important to be such a long time. Which makes it different about the high school.
well, as usual, Brian Anderson and the rest of it, you're going to find out where he's nominating the best candidates. And then, of course, you're not trying to keep everybody as you're sitting at home and, you think, find yourself. It's important to create that space for yourself.
Absolutely.
The great thing about great visionaries, and visionary is the word starting there, it's a vision. They say stuff will happen, can happen. But the visionary always has a plan for the vision and make sure that the vision happens. They should do the vision.
Absolutely. So constructive master. Thank you so much to yourself and Dan and to Instagram as well as to know that you can do
Of course.
Mr. Marshall, we all the things for discussing with it. I'm hoping that we all have that in our different parts and this video.
I just want to be sure that you're the stop.
I just have a Facebook message for you. That's Renita Shangye. Tell Samm Marshall I say hi. So yeah, he's gone now.
And that's absolutely the lovely
Yeah, this is called, it's track 2 of the album called Saving.
What is that about?
It's just about making sure that the fire starts to burn bright and making sure that everything you do, that you know you're in.
Beautiful.
Yeah.